This segment of the news has been brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.
24 new cases and an additional COVID-19 death were confirmed by the Ministry of Health yesterday. Health officials also confirmed a non-COVID-19 related death, and one death is under investigation. The death toll is now up to 69 after officials confirmed that an 83-year-old male of New Providence died on September 11th. As for the additional cases, 20 are here in New Providence, 1 in Grand Bahama and Long Island each, and 2 with locations pending. This pushes the total number of COVID-19 cases in the country to 3,023. Of the total number, 1,482 cases have recovered. 1,461 are active cases, 66 of which are hospitalized. There are 11 deaths under investigation, and 15,510 tests have been completed to date. A year after Hurricane Dorian, Abaconians still aren't pleased with the level of crime taking place. Outside of Cabinet Office yesterday, National Security Minister Marvin Dames noted that adjustments were made to the policing strategy on the island.
This is the normal course of doing business, and so I don't want to continue to beat down on that. The police and the defense force have been reviewing their strategies and not changing strategies, making adjustments when necessary.
Recently, the police commissioner noted that crime was down on the island, despite residents having different views. Here's Mr. Dames' response.
Crime could be down, and you can still have an issue. Okay, so policing is more than just numbers. You know, there are quality of life issues. Abaco, and to essentially the same extent, the Grand Bahama, that were impacted by Dorian. There are a number of other issues too, and oftentimes the police are put at the front and center of those.
This past Sunday, the minister, along with Commissioner of Police Paul Roll and Commodore of the Defense Force Raymond King, visited and met with officials and residents of that island.
The trip was a very productive one. As a matter of fact, 2 days prior to the trip, I had an opportunity to do a video conference meeting with many of the leaders on the island, within the business community, as well as the neighborhoods, the administrators, and the consul.
Mr. Dames adds this about additional manpower being deployed and notes that he does not believe lack of manpower is the problem on Abaco. He says this much as Abaco continues to restore after the devastating Category 5 hurricane last year. Another homicide here in the capital, the second one this week. Police are now investigating the circumstances surrounding the shooting death of a man as he was parked in front of his home. Police reports indicate that the incident occurred around 8 o'clock last night on 1st Street in the Coconut Grove area. Police say while parked at his home, the man was approached by a male on a motorcycle who shot him several times. The victim was transported to hospital by a private vehicle, but later succumbed to his injuries. Meantime, police are also investigating a traffic accident which resulted in a fatality. The accident happened on East Bay Street in the Montague area shortly before 10 p.m., claiming the life of an adult male. Police say upon arrival, officers observed a white Nissan Note and a burgundy Honda Accord with extensive damage. Further investigations revealed that the male driver of the Note was unresponsive and the occupants of both vehicles had visible injuries. EMS were called to the scene, and after examining the victims, the male was pronounced dead, and the remaining 3 passengers, a male and 2 females, were transported to the hospital for medical attention. The police force traffic department will continue investigations into this incident. And a shooting incident yesterday afternoon leaves a man in hospital nursing injuries. Police say shortly after 1 p.m., a male who was standing at the corner of Esmeralda and Taylor Street was approached by a white Nissan Sunny, and a male stepped out of the vehicle and discharged a firearm, hitting the victim in his thigh. He was assisted to the hospital by a concerned citizen, where he is in stable condition. And if junior doctor interns miss 2 weeks of their rotations in hospital for any reason, they risk not being able to complete their program. This is coming from Princess Margaret Hospital Chief of Staff Dr. Caroline Burnett Garraway. She was responding to queries about claims that 3 junior doctors that were not able to finish their program, 2 of them being pregnant during the time of their internship, and whether or not these 3 will be passed over for a job opportunity. Dr. Burnett Garraway stated that there are certain requirements that need to be met in order for junior doctors to complete their internships.
Of course, you have to pass the end of clerkship exams, you have to perform on the wards adequately, see a certain number of patients, do a certain number of procedures. And the interns are allowed 1 week of vacation per 3-month rotation. If they miss more than 2 weeks of a rotation for any reason, illness, pregnancy, then the rotation either has to be completed in total or the time has to be made up. And we have 1 intake of new SHOs per year, so every July usually. New SHOs are hired when the internship is completed.
Dr. Burnett Garraway stated that the 3 junior doctors will be invited back to apply for a post next year, July. Now, JCN's reporters reached out to the Bahamas Doctors Union President, Dr. Melisande Bassett, for comment, but she refused to give comments to the Jones Communication Network for personal reasons. You're watching JCN News. Stay with us.
This segment of the news has been brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.